I'm currently working on a project that aims to implement bidirectional data interchange from BIM to VR and VR to a BIM application on the desktop. And in this project, I was trying to identify like what would be a good interaction model in VR to edit this type of BIM data, and does it even make sense to edit BIM data? And as part of this, I have looked back at one very specific project I've worked on, which is Cuboid. And the aim with Cuboid was to give the user the ability to edit a three-dimensional scene in augmented reality in world scale. So you directly see everything happen in the real world. I don't know how to explain it better. Let's just watch the videos and look at the way the user interface is implemented and what kind of things could be improved or are less than ideal. So right now we are looking at the opening and closing of a document, and that's very straightforward. If you look at the interface, there is two parts. You have your controller in your dominant hand, and you have your in your non-dominant hand, you have the user interface panel, the UI panel, and in the scene itself, there is user interface elements such as gizmos, which are these little handles that you can see me interacting with right now, and also a skill box, for example. And this works with a ray interactor instead of direct manipulation, so that you can work with objects at a distance, which is quite useful for augmented reality and also probably for BIM data if you're standing directly inside of the model and you want to edit a column at a distance. You might want to be able to interact with that without having to scale the model down, then work with it, then scale it back up, because that might be an inconvenient way of working. So if we look at what's happening right now is I'm scrolling through the assets. Scrolling works by using the thumbstick on your controller, and here you can see me move the the vines up. You can see the different gizmos and also a pop-up panel. If you just press the object the second time, first time you select it, second time you press the object, it will show a pop-up menu with operations like cut, copy, paste, delete. And the gizmos that are implemented are the translate gizmo, which enables you to translate along an axis or along a plane like this, and that can be done in the X, Y, and Z direction. Also, rotation can be done. Rotation happens also along the X, Y, or Z axis, or around the X, Y, or Z axis, and it's fairly straightforward. Scaling as well. Scaling has an additional tool, which is the rectangle box, or the box that is placed around the selection, and then you can grab the handles and scale it up or down. This works fairly well. Also, there's undo redo implemented, and if you change your mind about anything, you can just undo redo. You can also save different versions of the file, so it enables you to work on something and say like, maybe I want to go back to this version, so just save version 2 and then you go back to version 1 if you want to make changes. So right now we're looking at a color picker that's also implemented, changing the color of a primitive shape. I wanted to expand that into being able to edit more properties that are like either just like a regular Unity object. And that is kind of where this project started to get like interesting, because initially I was like, it's just a design application. You can design a 3D space in VR. But actually the only people who are actually doing that are people who are creating VR experiences for their profession, and they will probably just be using a game engine, and therefore it makes sense to actually just make this into for example, a plugin for Unity. Unity has also already made a plugin, but that is that was discontinued like a while ago. And at a certain point, I noticed that Unity was kind of, not really ideal to work with to create a professional application or VR experiences. A lot of paper cuts and annoying things that happened. And also some problematic business decisions. So I was like, okay, well, let's just create a game engine then. And this application also makes way more sense as a plugin for a game engine rather than as a totally standalone app that enables someone to design something. So that's currently the aim of the project. And right now I want to see how to integrate building information modeling or BIM data as well into it. And therefore I'm currently revisiting this interaction model to see how BIM data could be inspectable and editable in VR as well. And the scope of the game engine is thus also very much focused on this application. So it's not just a generic game engine like Unity or Unreal Engine, which tries to solve everything all at once. So it's very much focused on being able to support this type of application where you design inside of augmented or virtual reality, and have like either two-way data binding or an easy import process and export process for this type of spatial data. Like for example, for architecture or for other design fields, which would be which could benefit from this type of editing workflow or visualization workflow. Thanks for watching. It's not really meant as some sort of like general announcement or grant announcement, but I just wanted to get this just out of the way, see what just get some thoughts out there.